Today, I'm not going to talk about my way. You won't hear me bitching about anything. In lieu of the recent events, it has really got me to thinking. At one point, where are we too safe? It's hard to not say what happened. But if you ran up on the scene of an accident, and say, for example, the car is turned up on its side, and a fire has already caught under the hood, and the car was filling up with smoke. And this is just an example. Okay. The driver's side window bust out when the collision happened. And we're talking about a single vehicle. And I'm going to get to the point after this. I just want y'all to get a mental visual of what I'm saying. So somebody comes crawling out, or is trying to crawl out of the driver's side window. And the airbags deployed and knocked the driver out, basically. And I don't know the word I'm looking for. Dazed and confused, don't know where you're at, don't know who you are. You see a blanket laying in the passenger seat, and it's a small white one. And as a female, I would assume that there was a child in a car, because most of the time, especially in the winter, moms will take a small blanket and toss it over the car seat. Okay, so if, say you're looking at the car, you're trying to take care of the immediate threat, which would be helping someone out of the vehicle. And then your mind goes into overdrive, and you're looking at the passenger side, and you're trying to look in the windows to see if there's a kid in a car seat or a baby in a car seat. God forbid it was a baby. And you try to crawl up on the car to get a door open, and because of automatic locks, you can't get the door open. And even to see if there's a child in the back. And even asking the driver if there's a child in the car. And they can't answer you because the airbags has knocked them, like, out. Dazed and confused, that's all I can say. So you have no choice but to get the driver out. That is the first, most immediate thing. You can't get to the kids because the car's on its side. And it's up against the telephone pole. But you can't flip it over because there's a fire hydrant on the other side. I hope I'm forming a mental visual for y'all. You get the driver out, and you tell them to move away from the car as fast as they can, because you don't know if it's going to explode or what. I'm more on the cautious side, and even though that model car has, my husband calls it something, it shuts off the gas or whatever it is so it won't explode. In my mind, I'm thinking, I don't care. What if something happened to it? That would make the car explode. So as the driver is being pulled out, and they are so dazed and confused, they don't know anything. And you're trying to ask them, is there children in the car? Is there children in the car? And I'm just going to say this, and I know it's very sad. Because of the automatic locks on doors, the children or the baby would not have survived. I can only imagine, as I stood there trying to bend over and look at the car to see if there's a child in the back, we would not have been able to get the kids out, or the baby. So and because of automatic locks, and I know I just said it, you can't get the doors open. The driver's having to crawl out. Okay, let's look at it from a different perspective. Okay, I am your eyes to that accident. And you now have a visual. But now think about this. The automatic locks on the vehicle. Okay, what if a mom and baby was trapped in a car. The automatic locks automatically locked. The driver is so dazed and confused, they don't know how to unlock the car. They know that the car is on fire and that they need to get out and get their children out. And the driver can't get out. I mean, because of the locks. And the airbags have deployed and have knocked the driver so hard in the chest, it fractures your back. But it hurts so bad in your chest. I mean, I don't know how to put it. It knocks all the wind out of your lungs. So at what point do we say safe is not safe? I understand people like the automatic lock, so people don't open their doors when they're somewhere. But after seeing this, it has really changed my mind about what is safe and what isn't. At what point do we say that's not safe? Let's just go back to the old ways and let safe actually be safe. So you can't get the children out of the car, and you're standing there watching this car on fire, and the driver's so dazed and confused they can't tell if there's children or not, and you're literally standing there watching children be engulfed or smoke or fire. Me personally, there would be so much adrenaline coming through me, I would probably get up there and start kicking the windows with my feet. Okay, what if the doors or the windows wouldn't have been busted out? Okay, you can get the driver out, but then you'd have to jump back in it to get the child out. But the car is on fire, and it was on fire as soon as it hit the telephone pole. And you couldn't knock the car over because there's a fire hydrant on the other side. So, and I see these new car seats for children and babies. And I think now, what is too safe? I mean, it's like it's like a straitjacket that kids are in seats, car seats, and babies. Yeah, I want my children and my baby to be safe. But what if I wrecked and my car was on fire? I can't get out. I can't get my child out. So that makes me think, what if we had a sledgehammer? We would have got the child out, regardless if the window's busted or not. And I shit you not, as being a mom, I would literally beat the crap out of that car getting my child out. Thankfully, there was no child in the car. I'm just going to say, praise God for that. But it's hard to cast judgment when you don't know. I was assuming there was a child in the car. And you tell the 911 operator, I don't know if there's a child in the car. I'm going to assume there is. I'd rather assume than not to assume in a situation like that. So the airbags deploy, knocks you senseless, breaks your back, just all kinds of chemical burns on your arms and hands. At what point do you say airbags are not safe? Maybe we need to deploy them half the size. And I understand that people say, oh, I want airbags. Now they got them on the front and the sides and back of the vehicles. And now that I've seen this with my own two eyes, I am like, okay, disable the airbags. Keep cracking the window so if something happens, you can at least hit it with your foot to get out. But as far as the children's car seats, oh my God, I hate to say it. I could not imagine if it was my child and I was standing there having to watch it burn up in his car or die from smoke inhalation because you can't get the door open. So you ask yourself those questions. At what point do we say that safe is too much? Yeah, I don't want anybody to open the car door when I'm at a gas station. I mean, put your weapon in your car. I got a crowbar in mine. And I kid you not, I'm not afraid to use it on anyone. If I tell you to get away from my car, get away from it. But it's kind of like now, I want a sledgehammer, or like, it's the little pick that the firemen use to get people out. So it's got like a mattock on one side and then a sledgehammer on the other. I want to get one of those and put in all 3 vehicles, because this has really opened my eyes to where safe ends and where not safe begins. It was just terrifying to a point, because I could think of was if there's kids in the back, if they were in a car seat, a baby was in a car seat, one of those car seats that like literally straps you down as a baby. How do you get that unlocked fast enough to get the baby out? The car's on fire. Then you're going to have to bend in through the driver's window and, God forbid, go to the back and get the baby out. It wasn't going to happen. It just really, really makes me think. But I know I'd rather be prepared than not be prepared. I'm always been that type of person. But until I saw this, I thought I was okay riding a vehicle with automatic lock and locks and airbags and blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? When you see something like that firsthand, it really makes you step away from it and look at what is safe and what isn't safe. But those automatic door locks, they have got to go, because we couldn't get any doors open. Thank God the driver's door, the window, busted. If not, things would have ended up in a very, very traumatic way. And I wouldn't say what will be on fire. You'll know it. So, and I've talked to a few people about it, and they're like, I'm going to start riding around with my window cracked. Well, good. You know, do that. You think about your safety before you get in that vehicle. I know me, for one, it's going to be a sledgehammer and some kind of pickaxe, because if I run up on that again, I don't want to have to stand there and visually see a baby or a child burn up in a car. Think about it, people. It's just not safe. Will a burning vehicle? I want it submerged underwater. Give it some thought. It's really opened my eyes. I remember when we were kids, growing up, and we had the old cars, y'all know what I'm talking about, solid front seat, solid back seat. And we never, car seats, nothing. It was your mom or dad reaching behind their seat, trying to smack you to tell you to shut up and sit down. I've got my fair ass beatings, but I'm thankful for it. So, back then, you didn't have automatic door locks, you didn't have airbags. But if you look at the statistics on the internet, the older model cars are the safer cars. Because when it comes to an accident, when it's fire or water, they can get out. But like I say, I want to repeat it again. And listen, what if there was a child or a baby in that car? The car was on fire. It had already burned up to the driver's seat. But if the child was in the car, it would have been on the very bottom, next to the pavement. I could not imagine what the mother would have went through, and what we would have went through to seeing a baby or a child burn. So, step back from safety and really give it some thought. This has really, really scared me, and I start sweating when I think about it, because now that I look back at it, I know you shouldn't look back on things, but I'm looking at things like, where does it stop? And I want to be prepared to not be prepared, because if there was a child in that car and I saw it burning, I got a sledgehammer, I'm getting that child out first thing. Once I can find out that there's a kid in the car, sledgehammer on the windows, we can get them out. So I'm going to end this here because it's 15 minutes. My husband hates it when I go over 15 minutes. But I just want you to give it some thought. This is a personal experience, and this did happen in the past few days. So I have stopped thinking that everything is safe. It's not. Especially when you see something like this, fire. And especially a fire that was spreading rapidly. Thank God there wasn't a baby in that car or a child. And thank God we got the woman out, so there was nobody in the car. Some people just have guardian angels. See y'all.